Oh, apparently we're underway. Okay, I was just refreshing on my side. This is a Zelda 2 all keys race between NES Martin and Zoeni, I think I'm going to go with. Didn't really seem to mind when I asked, so I've missed the start, so I'm not sure what's going on. I'm assuming Zoeni has just skipped the magic container and appears to be going full tilt here. Hopefully the sync's pretty good with the commentary in addition to the two. But that'll be, I believe, J-Lo handling that. J-Lo? J-Lao? I think I would know how to figure these things out ahead of time. And there's a death already. That is not good for Zoeni, or Horse, if you prefer. Supposed to kick open J-Lo's channel for chat, in case there's anyone watching in there and wants to tell me anything I might be missing or on the lineup here. So with the one death already, that's not a very good start for Zoeni, while Martin is picking up the shield spell in the first town. The free spell, because a spell that allows you to take half damage, you should get that for free. You earned it. You walked into the town. And Heart Container picked up for Zoeni, now going back through the bubble. I'm trying to think of what they call these. I'd call them like trap tiles, I suppose, that you have to deal with. Another death here. Martin's screen is not Martin. No, actually, Martin's screen is not Martin. Definitely not. J-Lo. They're not seeing Martin. Martin's now going through the dark cave with the louder enemy, and he'll be exiting out into the desert momentarily. Hopefully, J-Lo is there. I can't control that, so hopefully that'll happen. As Zoeni moves into this is not going great there. Zoeni goes into Palace 1, and Martin tried to get the skip at the bubbles, but missed. So now he's going to have to make his way through here. Hopefully he'll be able to avoid the damage along the way. I'm not sure if Zoeni's male or female, so if I say the wrong one, I apologize in advance. Bubble encounter? Okay, that's the way to say that. Good to know. Martin picks up the Heart Container, and the first key has been picked up where the run is. And all keys run. The first key is, as they say, the most important one, because if you don't collect that one, you can't collect any more.
Actually,
I don't think anyone's ever said that, but that's fine. We'll just go with that. And now Martin's making his way back through the bubble encounter. Oh, and there's a tin suit hit for Zoeni. That's not going to help. Not going to help at all. That loss of 10 experience could be an issue, depending on what the plan is. But as far as I know, Zoeni's doing a different strat than I'm used to seeing, because I didn't go for the magic container and it just headed right out into the desert here. Martin is now into Palace 1. We'll be heading off to the left to get the first key. And Zoeni is making the way past the skeletons. And I'm assuming now going to start jumping them, but missed on the jump, and now going to kill the skeleton. So I have no idea what the plan is on that side of things. And by the way, if anyone's interested in co-commentating on this who might be watching the race and feels up to it, by all means drop in and help a guy out, because it is tough to follow two on your own. Martin got the first key as Zoeni moves up into the top right area of the palace. Going to chase down the two keys that are in this dead end up here. And little low on life, so got to be careful here moving through to picked off by the slime. Next hit is a death. That'll be the second death for Zoeni, and that would, as you might expect, not be very optimal. Martin making the way over to the right now, and Zoeni taking a very cautious approach to getting after the... I'm not sure what this guy's called. I always called him a Cyclops, so I'm not sure what to apply to that. Martin setting up now for attack 2. Going to probably start jumping skeletons, more of the traditional style. No, Martin is also killing the skeleton. Okay. And there's the second death for Zoeni. Oh boy. Hopefully Zoeni's able to get through the rest of the palace without without dying, because they want to get to attack 4. I mean, if at this point this is what I did with my races. You get through Palace 1, you go to the jump trophy cave, and then you just drop into a lava pit, and because you have to re-enter anyway, and then you have 3 lives. You only lose like 15-20 seconds. It's probably one of the better spots to tank a death and just take the continue. A Doom Rattler. Okay, I did not know that was the name at all. It's not Guma. Guma is different, Highlander. What are you talking about? Anyway, there's attack 2 for Martin, picking up the key, and meanwhile, Zoeni's making careful work of the bubble room, or the floating skulls, and oh man, there's Dan H in the chat. That's no good. Attack 2 picked up by Zoeni inside the crumbling bridge cave. And you're probably appear to be memeing in the chat here, and I don't know what that is, but that's fine. See if Zoeni can get past. Nope, Zoeni takes a hit from the bots on the way out of the room. Martin's dropping frames. I wouldn't know about that. And he himself will be going into the bubble room as Zoeni gets a 200 point bag right there, so that's going to help. I think that might make up for the whole difference in the start because of how, they're struggling with the iron knuckle here. This is not good. This is not good. Ooh, holds on, but about 2 hits left unless shield is used, so I wonder if shield strats will come into play. Martin gets the P-bag on the crumbling bridge. And getting ready to see if he can jump past. And the bots cooperate. Do the bots ever do that for anyone else? I don't think I've seen them. Don't die. Don't die. Cast shield, Zoeni. Oh, my. I'm not cheering for anybody. Dropping frames like they're hot. And there is a P-bag for Martin as well. So, both of them kind of eschewing the typical safe approach. Oh, that bot almost got Zoeni. My, oh, my. That's enough to just make you clench a little. Zoeni taking time here, and oh boy, run, Zoeni, run! Somehow escapes the pincer attack from the bubbles and continues. Martin coming back across the crumbly bridge. Will he get lucky twice with the bots just cooperating? Would you look at that? Martin is just touched with the luck, it seems. Having no problems. And Martin took life 2, I see, so is Martin going to be going just attack 3 and taking life 2? Unless they get the second P-bag. And there is the much-needed refill for Zoeni, heading down into the bottom area of Palace 1. And may look like Zoeni's in the lead, but remember, Zoeni skipped the magic container at the start. So that will have to be collected on the way back out. Oh, there's a big stab taken by Zoeni. And here comes Martin into the same area. So despite getting the magic container, the 2 deaths are going to make a big difference. Zoeni's going to be in tough here, definitely behind early on, but it is a long race, as you guys know. It is an hour, 15 to about an hour 30 for most runners on this game. Oh, Zoeni gets stomped on like a Goomba. That's no good, and there's an attack 3 for Zoeni as Martin is fighting the iron knuckle and going to be heading in, and Martin's going to be coming up short on getting what he needed. He was playing for the double 200 point P-bag. He was playing that, so I wonder if he's going to skip the crystal or if he's just going to roll with attack 3. This will be interesting to see. All right, Zoeni, and they're both fighting Horsehead, both doing very well here so far. Although, I can't tell if Zoeni's actually... No, Zoeni was not hitting Horsehead there. All those shots were too low, too far away. And Zoeni is 1 hit from death. Did not use shield at all in this battle. And Martin has indeed placed the crystal, so taking attack 3... Oh, it's Zoeni survives. Zoeni survives, and Martin is leaving the desert. So Zoeni is going to be faced with the thought of, do I just try to go and see if I can go without dying, or is it tanking a death somewhere where they can just continue and get back too quickly, since Zoeni's so near the start. Zoeni passes up and is just going for attack 4, so I can't imagine Zoeni's going to go for the take a death, so we'll see what happens there. And Martin is into the bowling trophy cave, as it's called on my channel for some reason, because I think I called it that on YouTube about 8 years ago. But I digress, and Martin just trying to ignore the Gorilla, getting clear and heading back out. We'll be heading for the jump spell. Meanwhile, Zoeni is heading in to get the shield magic and probably heading for the magic container as Martin makes the escape and has evaded the enemies and will be heading in to get the jump spell momentarily. So I take this moment to remind everybody that all Zelda 2 runners who are in this tournament are very brave people, because this game is mean, except it's simple. Simple is just amazing. Right? Right. All right, that was your message of let's just, give everyone a little shout out. And by everyone, I mean one person. And this is what happens when there's nothing really happening. I'm going to fill it with lather. And it's not good. It's not good. One getting a spell and one leaving. As Martin is getting jumped, so Martin will be ready to head out into the connector towards the swamp. While I'm assuming Zoeni's going to go get the magic container, but we'll see what happens there. Because, like I said, I'm a little off my route of what I know. And there's an encounter with those experience-stealing moblins, too. That's not what you want to see. As Zoeni now heads here, gets a back spawn. That'll help get to the magic container cave. And should be okay from there, as Martin is now heading south to enter the cave to get towards the swamp. And I'm curious to see if Zoeni's going to pick up the extra life in the swamp, or if Zoeni's just going to go for it and try to get into Death Mountain. Martin is having a pretty good little brawl there with the Gria, but does get picked off by a boomerang. I thought he was going to be able to defend that on the hop. We'll see what happens there. I mean, early days with attack 3, those extra attacks mean there's more chances to take a shot from the enemies. Meanwhile, Martin is already into the room where you need the jump spell. Actually, I don't think you can make that jump, can you? Without the jump spell? I think it's one block too high. I think you can make one block less than that without the jump spell if you did the wiggle jump. And there's a free fairy for Zoeni, who will take that. I mean, if you're given a gift, you may as well say thank you. Oh, sorry, my mistake. This is Martin who got the fairy. Or maybe I'm getting confused. No, Martin picked up the fairy from the nearby bush. That's what I was seeing. Oh. And Zoeni is now exiting the trophy cave. And will be heading to get jump momentarily. While, Martin's going to drop it and just go, hey, hi. And Bagu's going to be like, oh, good, I live in the woods and I want... Oh, no, you're already gone. Because no one wants to talk to Bagu. They only go there because they are forced to. By social dictates and the fact that you need the riverman to help you get across. Martin is getting back attacked and back attacked and back attacked by the... Again, not sure their names either. But that's fine. I don't know if anyone does damage boosting, really, do they? This game, trying to do damage boosting would probably be an interesting way to go. And meanwhile, Martin is going to go pick up a mirror from under the only bed in all of Hyrule. And jump has been bestowed upon Zoeni. And Martin's going to quickly turn that mirror in and get the life spell. And get all ready to rock and roll with some healing magic as he will be no doubt heading next into Death Mountain. I would gladly take another commentator for sure if someone is interested. And by color, but I'm already the color commentator. I'm just doing the play-by-play at the moment. If you want to do the color commentary, Dan, you get in here. Zoeni now heading into the connector cave. And Martin is just going to start the long walk through the rest of Saria to get out there. Or Saria? Oh, you got to remember, it's this Canadian accent. That's what happens, guys. You can't understand half the things I say. And heading on in now to the cave is Zoeni. Zoeni's going to have to be careful here. Zoeni has already died twice. One more death, and that will eat up all that experience. And that, gets boomeranged with a pincer attack. One from behind, one from the front. Nothing you can do as the Riverman gives permission to leave. Oh, boy. Oh, that was close, Zoeni. You better get that fairy. You need to heal yourself up and get healthy. And Death Mountain is just about to begin for Martin. And there is the fairy. So a good move by Zoeni, taking advantage of what's there. And Zoeni is indeed going to go for another fairy. Well, too rich and fine. Well, you'd understand me fine, Jack. There's the one up. So Zoeni now has a little bit of breathing space as Zoeni is going to head over to Bagu. And Martin is already getting into Death Mountain here, ready to gonna take magic. All right, gonna take magic, and I wonder if he is gonna try to get to attack 5 before the end of Palace 2 or not. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. Meanwhile, Zoeni had unfortunately went one too far, it appears, and got into a forced encounter. and is now pretending to like Bagu long enough to get help, and went one too far to the right and got a forced encounter, and now has to deal with the little bouncing goats for the lack of... Again, they have a name, but they look like goats. Zoeni just stayed in the forest and walked into yet another forced encounter. That is not what you want to see. Heading onto the bridge. Both of them are going to be dealing with these experience-stealing, rock-spitting enemies, whose names are eluding me again. And now comes the fun part for Martin, who is already half dead. Will be facing a red Dara. I would say Dara, but Dara, I suppose. Did just fine, though. Just fine. And I believe Dan H. has just joined the call, which is going to help. Assuming his mic's working, because I don't see anything right now. Oh, boy. Martin takes a death in Death Mountain, putting the death in Death Mountain, I suppose, while Zoeni is just hanging out in town, grabbing that mirror and going to get that... Call them trollfish, Auntie. That sounds good. Bago. I was right on that. Good. Martin now, already half damaged and going against an orange Dara. And if Dan's talking, I can't hear him. He's in the room, but I don't see anything.
Do you got me?
Hello, Dan. Welcome to the call.
Let me hear you. Yeah, Martin taking a death in one of the tougher rooms of Death Mountain.
Oh, are you on the multi-Twitch, or are you calling it off the channel?
On multi-Twitch.
How am I so far ahead of you? He just died like 30, 40 seconds ago.
I just saw him going into the second staircase sort of room.
Okay, yeah, he's in the second, so he's going to die in here. So
I'm just kind of following up. Cast life, so that's where I'm at.
Okay, we're good then. Alright, so Zoeni is getting set up to leave town. Didn't cast life fast enough to keep the extra magic refill. Has to go back and get another magic refill, and Martin is in trouble here. Let's see if he can pull it out. He gets it, and then cast life after the fact for the swag points to just say, no, I was in no danger. It was fine. Is he going to go get that pea bag? He is.
Will definitely help, even though it's only 50 points. You know, kill as much as you can in Palace 2. He's still in danger of not getting to attack 6 after Palace 2 at this point.
Yeah, I was very curious if he would have enough experience to go for that. Unless he gets a lot of 200-point bags, I don't think it's possible, really, is it? Unless he kills everything.
Well, to get to attack 6, you can get to 623 if you get the right amount of P bags in Death Mountain and Palace 2. But you have to kill absolutely everything.
All right. Well,
backup strat is 3-1-2 and Palace 2, so you don't take any magic or life levels, but this is definitely possible.
And there is the hammer from Martin, as Zoeni is currently just starting into Death Mountain. Remember, Zoeni is down to 2 lives now after picking up the Swamp 1-up doll. And Martin is now making the escape with the hammer in hand. And judging by the full magic, he must have got a red jar drop from one of the Daras in that last room.
His drop counts are spot on. He'll be getting a drop from the blue Gorilla just before the container. We'll see it. Gets a red jar there and cast fairy to pick up the heart, or if he gets a pea bag, which he probably wants the pea bag right now.
Yeah, he's looking a little low, I think, for where he'd want to be. And about to pick up the second magic container from Spectacle Rock.
Wall, which gives you full momentum if you stab the wall at the same time as you pick up that magic container. We'll see if he ducks the cave.
Oh, come on, Rob skip. Oh, no Rob skip.
Terrible strat.
I always hear it called that by people. Is that actually the name within the community for that? This is some excellent dodging going on here by Zoeni. Only taking 1 hit from the bat, so I suppose you're going to take a hit. The bat is probably better than the Gorilla's boomerangs. Oh, run away! Yeah, you're going to have to take it. And get the guy pinned into the wall. And, oh boy, this is a dicey battle, but Zoeni pulls through.
But that orange die runs when he stream.
And it looks like Martin is skipping the moblins on the bridge, just letting them live their life stuck there since they can't jump, so they have to just run back and forth on that bridge for the rest of their life. If you think about it, that's a real sort of depressing outcome for these guys. And there's a 50-point bag. I was going to say 200, but no, that was only a 50, so it must have been from one of the red slimes. Bits, I believe the name is.
All the bits, which is the correct thing to do. Bits are not.
Yeah, they're not like the little blue masochists, or sorry, sadists. They're not well, they could be. I'm not going to say which they are, but I'm saying they're definitely sadists, the little blue guys. And there is attack 4 for Zoeni, who has got a bit just
Boulder
hovering
dash
around.
beautifully. As Zoeni is much danger right here. He should
Martin should be good
life
to go.
2 right away.
Man, this first red Dara is a bit of a jerk. They set up that overhang, makes it tough to get in there and murder. But no, there's no life 2 coming here. It's straight up going for attack 5. Zoeni is playing aggressive. Oh, whew. Almost got a bit of damage from a bat teabag. That wouldn't have been too good. Can I say that on here? Oh, well, I've already said it. And Zoeni is making the way down towards the hammer now. V. Resner is not impressed with the leveling so far for Zoeni. The leveling has been strange for both because they've both tried, I believe, more aggressive strats than your average run for a race. As Martin now grabbing the 1-up doll from the swamp. You gotta think it'd be a little, moldy or musty or something, right? I mean, it's sitting in the middle of a fetid swamp. Would you really want to pick up a doll that's been sitting in there that long?
Like that doll does, then yes, I would definitely take that one.
If it gave you a whole extra life, absolutely. And the hammer for Zoeni is achieved, so that's a good sign, because you don't want to die in Deathbout and have to go all the way through that horror show again. As Martin is now heading in with the Medicine of Life to get, actually, first things first, get the downward thrust, casting jump to jump up to the high door. And then
One of the few times Link
spell.
talks in the Zelda series, saying the door is really quiet, someone's behind, someone's in there, or something like that on the temple that you have to jump.
Dark Magician asks, do we have a timer? We don't have one on JLo's screen at the moment. Both runners are showing about 23:25 at the moment. So, we do have one, but it was hiding. Okay, fair enough. So JLo might set up the stream to show that while we continue to watch here as Zoeni goes to get the second magic container. And the fairy spell.
Gotta save those frames.
Always, you got it, of course.
We'll
And then
back into that. Oh, he goes with a very interesting strategy here.
Just trying to make a run for it, and it did not work out. Let's see if Zoeni can avoid taking any damage on the way out of here. Good.
Which is going to shift his red jar and 200 bag drop yet again.
Well, given the strange approach that was taken at the start, I don't know if Zoeni was really giving much thought to that. I know I've never given any thought to those types of things when I play this. But for you, maybe for you top guys.
Drop. His next big drop is going to be the first red Daira in the Medicine Cave.
All right, and the moblins are being taken down. These moblins are being mercy killed, not left to starve to death on a bridge as they run around, just hoping to find something to eat, unless they can eat louders, in which case they should be good to go. Oh, there's a pea bag for Martin. Well needed. But I think he still might need one more, you'd have to think, to feel safe about going for attack 6. And there's another 1-up doll grabbed by Zoeni. I didn't notice, but I don't think Martin picked up that doll. That doll's more of a backup, I think. So Zoeni's back to 3 lives, I believe. And Martin
will have the abuse in Palace 4 normally would. Ooh, Martin will spawn on the way out of the Heart Cave could have set up a walk to get to Palace 2 without an encounter, but will walk that he anticipates a regular spawn and takes one encounter, one tile before the Palace. Ouch.
Really looked like he was going to make it there. The two of them behind him were just leaving alone, and then just one showed up at the tail end. And Martin having some trouble picking up the red jar. Well, we'll see if that costs him. But I right now, it's looking pretty solidly for Martin early on in this race. About, I'd say, 25% of the way through. And Zoeni's now heading into the last room of Medicine Cave.
If the swamp 1-up is musty, is the desert 1-up really dry?
It's really dry, and it may have been praised by ancient civilization years ago, years and years and years, and like thousands of years and stuff. I just don't have time to say year 1,000 times.
In honor of the 1-up.
And Martin must have picked up the key from the room. Must have picked up that from the Cyclops, someone gave me the name. I've already forgotten it. Something with Doom in it, I think. As dry as your soul, Dan H. I don't know if Dan H's soul's dry. His wit is pretty dry. I mean, it's downright flammable. That's how he's looking to burn you all the time. That was supposed to be a joke.
Black Bass and this
Black Bass.
I don't think a soul for those games.
Dropping an emoji on me real nice, or an emote, pardon me. All right. Oh, goodness. Zoeni is now headed in to get the downward thrust, but has cast life, so we'll have to go past and get a magic refill for jump before, and then have to backtrack to the church. And then we'll be picking up Fairy while Martin is making his way through to the rest of Palace 2 proper now that he's done the little sidebar down to the dungeon trip. And he seems to be having a clean run with the flying horse unicorn jerks. And Martin's going all out here and using Fairy to skip the rest of the room.
Very smooth butt him.
Martin all of a sudden is really throwing down some nice moves here. Very smooth, very slick, very efficient. And going back for the jar. And gives back some of the magic right away. Not that it's going to really matter. There is that refill coming up here from the wall, but still. And he doesn't even cast life beforehand. So all those nice moves on Martin, and then a little bit of mismanagement. I don't think it's going to cost him or anything, but I think he was really hoping for the pea bag, though. Really, I mean, that free red jar wasn't needed, and he needs that experience. He has to get to 200 after he gets to 2,000, if he wants to be safe entering against Helmet Head,
and then get to 200 experience.
Yeah. And we've got ourselves
200.
Yeah, that's not too bad then. He just needs probably one more, unless... Oh, I see. Was he just making sure this enemy did not despawn?
Yes, the D happened with that bot spawning out of the dropper thingamabob.
The dropper thing, that's how that's actually where all bots and bits come from, is the palaces. Those dropping things, that they just spread it all over the world. That's where they started, was in the palaces.
So Zoeni doesn't much of a setup to avoid encounters, and then gets 2 encounters on the way to the heart. So that's one very key thing for most runners to take into account, how to those encounters so you can dodge them easily. And that's differences between the top flight elite runner of the game and guys that are at 29, 22 or so.
That's an oddly specific time to pick. But Martin gets a 200-point bag drop, so that's going to really help. Probably going to set the stage. Should be able to get to attack 6, I would think, at this point. As Zoeni is now heading out towards the swamp. Stops to admire the enemies all rushing in from every angle, and now making a run for it. But unfortunately gets caught in the swamp. And is now making the exit from that encounter as Martin is going to get that last key to the right. And will then be ready to head down towards the boss. With only 180 experience to go towards Attack 5. Martin is close to death and is going to cast Life to make sure there are no more problems. As Zoeni enters Palace 2 with full magic and full life. And I just noticed has Life 1 and Magic 1. This is terrifying, really. I don't like going in there with the 2-3. I can only imagine going there with the 1-1. But I believe Zoeni still has 3 lives, and I believe Martin is at the same for the moment. Oh! Martin wants to be a Goomba, gets stomped on again. And is now...
That red jar.
Taking the pea bag, and now needs to get another 176 experience points to be good to go for the helmet head encounter. And there's 100 of it right there as Zoeni's got the first key and is now heading back through. Going to be... Now he's laughing. Martin's got it. He's all set up to get to Attack 6, so he'll be mostly back on track here. And should be able to easily be 7-3-3, leaving Palace 3, assuming that is his goal. As Helmet Head is now up for Martin. Knocking off the helmets and now just going to town. A little risky, but I think he could still take one more hit at least, so he was probably not feeling too much pressure on that kill. Ready to roll out the door on Palace 2. As Zoeni is now picking up the second key with a Callista Flockhart chasing him down the narrow hallway. And then there's Callista Flockhart's friend, Callista Flockhart. That's right, I'm old because Callista Flockhart is my person who's way too skinny and is thus a skeleton. Reference. Yeah, J-Law makes an interesting point that Martin should have taken life 3 with that P-bag drop. I don't know if Martin was really thinking that far ahead and just probably breathing a sigh of relief like, okay, we're good. But yeah, that's a good point. As now Zoeni heads into Palace 2. A pretty good escape for Martin there, getting to the boulder now. How will the desert treat him as he sets up? And he gets two back spawns, setting himself up to get to King's Tomb. There's the luck you want to see. He did do a pretty good route to set it up, though, I'd have to say. Resner says bad.
One of the RNG in the entire All Keys run, or any run for that matter.
Oh!
And getting just one encounter is beautiful.
That was pretty good. Zoeni
with the...
Zoeni had to be pixel touching that lava. I can't believe that like you know the one where you cast it but the fairy still sinks in anyway and you're like just shaking your head at the game for being so mean. I can't believe that actually escaped. And Zoeni will be grabbing a red jar. Martin forgoes trying to get the red jar on the entrance to Palace 3. And is now heading into Palace 3 proper. As Zoeni is now going off on the side trip to pick up the glove. Jackamus says it looked like the last frame possible. I'd have to agree. I can't imagine it was like any less close than that, because I sure looked like one that was going to go in there. So I can't see Martin. Oh, I kind of see Martin splits. He seems to be reasonably within range of his PBs at the moment. But I don't see one on the sides for Zoeni, so I can't really comment on that. Oh no, Zoeni in trouble. Oh, that was a risky strat, but it worked out. And there is attack 5 for Zoeni. Martin with a bit of a swag kill there on the BU. Takes out the block, and the beam takes it out with the perfect line on the shot. Now Zoeni's going to be backtracking through the falling block room to the elevator to get towards the end of the palace. And Martin grabs a key on the outside. I believe that's the only outside room in all of the palaces. Which, as a kid, the first time I got there, I thought that was a really nice touch. And I'm like, this is going to be so cool when they do more stuff like that. And then they didn't do any stuff like that anywhere else. Unless you count them using the Minecraft block room over and over again is a good design choice. Martin picks up
comes
Magic
up
3.
is a drink. So we thank the Zelda 2 designers for allowing us to drink lots of booze while watching this game.
I don't need to drink booze, as anyone who watches my stream will know. And Martin with an excellent yak hammer to take down the blue iron knuckle guardian around the raft. Picks up the raft and is now going to be heading back to the left. Zoeni is fighting through the room with the shooting heads and the skeletons. Do they have a fancy name, the skeletons?
Level.
Oh, Zoeni is deciding to touch every single skull on the way through. And then touches that skull and takes damage, unfortunately.
You have to have a tiny little bit of pause to down thrust past that final skull in that room. And Ness Martin goes for the Never Jar and gets an Iron Knuckle, which always happens.
You know,
that jar spawns maybe 5% of the time, otherwise 95% Iron Knuckle. That jar is the least common one that you can ever get. So don't ever go for it.
I was going to say, are those actual real numbers, or is this just you talking from the salty experience of trying to get said jar?
It never happens, so...
Fair enough.
We'll see if... good job. Doesn't have to dig down in these blocks to get the one that's in there. He doesn't need this jar, this pea bag, so... But he kind of takes it careful over the collapsible bridge.
Highlander says you're full of crap on the numbers and says it's 50-50 for the never get it jar. But I have to trust.
Particular one.
I get.
Is never.
Martin takes a death to the Doom Knocker.
Zoeni past that orange Iron Knuckle. It's far, far better to just kill that guy. It only takes 2 hits. It's very difficult to just down thrust past him, so just jump slash him and be done with it.
Oddly enough, I've never had much trouble skipping that one. There's all other ones I have trouble skipping, but not that one. Ooh, an extra hit just before Reebnarak for Martin, who, let's see if he can get, assuming he'll go for the downward thrust in the corner kill, but casting shield, which is a good move, still has room for life, shouldn't be any real danger, as Zoeni is now exiting Palace 2 and going for the swamp, and unfortunately has been picked off before the first choke point. Unfortunately for Martin, Reebnarak decided to go... Reebnarak or Reebnarak? I always add extra letters to things. But no problem for Martin.
Then.
And it looks like Zoeni is getting more swamp encounters, unfortunately. Is now going to try to evade the enemies to get to the pathway, but cannot do it. Picked off on a grass tile as the bouncing Billy Goat's Gruff decide to land an elbow on top of Zoeni before Zoeni can escape the scene.
Way between tiles.
Highlander says 82.7% of all stats are made up on the spot. So you're probably good then, Dan. You're in good company. Martin is really pushing... Zoeni, pardon me, was pushing the bounds of good taste and somehow gets back, decides halfway down. Where is Zoeni going?
But if you're gonna go for that...
Oh wait, Zoeni has no magic for fairy, that's the problem. So I'm not sure... There is a red jar somewhere in to the left, I think, of this entrance.
Not? Question mark?
I don't know if Zoeni, what are you doing? You're confused. I wonder if Zoeni knows where that red jar is. It's like to the left, and then you go up a couple. I'm not sure what Zoeni's up to. Probably going to take a death here. This is not a good encounter at all, and indeed has taken the death as Martin is picking up water for, I believe she's called the laziest woman in the world by most of the community, and gives her some water so Martin can get the fire spell. I guess Zoeni's
Quest 2.
idea was to just take the death then and get the magic that way. I was very confused what was happening there.
I mean, he could have just gone into town, sacrificed his 35, 40 seconds or whatever, saved the life.
And probably not lost that much time, honestly, given how long it took to take the death. But Zoeni is now making way to Palace 3. Doesn't need to do a setup, just going to walk right there, have no problem. Looking for the jar on the way in, but the red iron knuckle pops out instead. And Martin is now heading. Martin is now heading into the connector to head up to the wonderful stretch of forest that goes between Maze Island and Darunia, which is just perhaps the most wondrously created part. What is the most awfully designed part of this game for walking on a speedrun? Is this the part? Is it doing the Valley of Death?
Palace 2 Swamp, no doubt about it.
Yeah, that's pretty ugly too. How slow you have to walk through there, and you really have no way to evade the encounters. Dark Magician says, "I call that the woman who wants water says I call her the most interesting woman in the world. I don't always drink water, but when I do, it's from a fountain." I don't know if that's going to move much Dos Equis, but I like it.
Going from the cave to the maze and from back to the town, it's pretty much encounter free unless you get flying carroted, as Rove would put it.
I'm pretty sure you're missing a word in that Rove description of the fairy enemy. And I do say
the
enemy
stream
because
is supposed to be, so I'm gonna hold off on saying that word.
For sure. So this walk right now...
Yes, Martin, set it up beautiful.
Pretty
walk,
cool.
And pause buffers and takes the encounter skip perfectly. Zoeni missing the 4-tile and casting jumps so that he doesn't lose more time trying to get back up there, which is a good idea, I think.
For sure, and Martin appeared to get both of the forced encounter skips. And he is into Darunia now, going to set up to get Upward Thrust and Reflect, which you need to fight the hardest boss in the game, Karok. Although all I ever hear from Dan is how nasty of a boss that is. He says he never gets good luck. Is that true, Dan? Do you always get terrible luck when it comes to that boss?
Perfect Karoks in my life. So of like 150 runs that I've finished, I've had 2 perfect Karoks. So there you go. That's how good that boss is. And Pro JN has had 1, I believe. So, and he's run this game way more than just a... Zoeni going with...
Just holds on and takes the magic upgrade.
Oh my god, that was...
Interesting decision. I would have taken the life. I would have taken the life myself, if you're going to take one of the two. But then again, I lost all 4 of my matches in this tournament, so what do I know? Not a whole lot. Martin is now picking up Reflect, which means that the long trip into Darunia is almost over, and then he just has to do that jog back across to the Maze Island. Meaning you got to go through the 2 forced encounters, and then you have to deal with constant enemy swarms looking to make you enter places with really damaging eyeballs, or Tektites that just want to spit fireballs at you all day long. And Zoeni.
There is exactly why you cast jump in that room. You don't want to stand there and wait for bots to decide what they're going to. You don't want to get knocked into the lava by the bots, so cast jump and thrust on top of them. Piece of cake. And Martin misses the first skip.
Indeed, he misses it again, and is now just said, you know what? I've had enough of this, and is just going to take the bubble damage and move on. Oh, and a fake out. Martin does not get the skip. I think on that, especially on that second skip, leaving Darunia, if you don't get it, you may as well just go. If you don't get it, by the time you get everything to spawn again, it's probably not going to be any slower, I would say. Now, you experts could probably correct me on that, but it's probably not really a bonus.
Honestly, about trying the skip, because you get one extra step before the second encounter spawn happens, and it just gives you a little bit more room to pause buffer. So,
okay.
I mean, you're sacrificing about 2.5 seconds by not getting the skip, but the potential for getting all the way back to the maze with one encounter or less is much greater.
Did I see that correctly? Did Zoeni take life 4? Must have. And now is getting just absolutely abused by 2 Iron Knuckles and is down to last life. As Martin is making the way through the maze.
With 309 or 3 Rebel Knuckle in Palace 3. And he couldn't get it if kill that blue Iron Knuckle.
So it wouldn't matter even then, because coming into this fight would have required like 900 to please cast shield, Zoeni. Well, maybe it won't matter. We'll see. Can you do the bounce on the head on this side? Is that possible on the right side?
No, it is not.
Ooh.
He did
cast shield.
Correct pixel.
Oh,
He'll
boy.
get through this. He'll get through this.
Oh, no.
Wishful thinking. No. Game over.
Game over, man. Game over.
Okay, Hicks.
Well, that really is unfortunate, but it does allow for Zoeni to set up to get the attack coming out of the palace now. So, should be, yeah, Dark Magician, I believe you're correct. I believe 900 is the amount needed. Unless, do you get 301 from this Ragnarok or not?
Yes.
Okay, so you only need a paltry 899 then. So meanwhile, Martin is just starting into that right side of Palace 4 where the keys and the items flow like wine. I'm not sure why they would be flowing like wine, but regardless.
I'm going to guess that he's not. He just go back through this room, take the Jesus, walk up, and then go to the next key and probably take a death there.
Yeah, that would, with that extra death taken by Martin, that would probably be the sensible way to do it. Just grab the boots and get that another key, and then just jump down the lava right away, because you can't get a red jar in that room anyway. Martin's getting really bodied here by the Doom Knocker. And he's left himself a little bit of... Oh, this is going to be interesting. Shield going to be cast or not? Beers, he's just going for it. And, oh no, the jackhammer does not work. Martin down to 3 lives again. So, if you were Martin in this situation, Dan, would you take the death in the next jump room?
Definitely not.
I mean, I don't know if he has the restream open, if he's seeing what's been going on with the opponent, but if he is, he definitely knows he's well ahead and doesn't need to take any unnecessary risks. So probably play it safe. And Zoeni's really struggling here with the Mew, trying to get up the block stairs.
Yeah, that's your visual cue to get up to those. I just cast jump in those rooms anyway. I have lost way too many missing the jump
Yeah.
at the end of those.
I typically
The 4-tile Y apps.
I typically cast jump myself just because one of the Mews tends to get in the way and it just delays you. And borrowed time for Zoeni right now with life. How many points of life would Zoeni have? 4 or less at this point? Showing nothing in the life meter, but still moving. Either that or a zombie. Oh! Wow, that was mean. You see that jump snipe? That is just cruel. Zoeni has suffered enough, game. Come on now.
Over that, then you get a better pattern from that Doom Knocker. Martin, a little bit with the Maya.
And I'm noticing that Zoeni's still not going to have enough experience to get to attack 7. So I'm guessing Zoeni's going to take either magic or life.
To kill the...
Doesn't appear that's going to happen, though. Even then, unless, that wouldn't be enough even with a P-bag drop. Now, if killed everything in the room would be alright.
I think that would give him enough. He's
Martin
too far forward to do the left corner trick. Leading with him to cast shield right now.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Because he can't cast life. Might as well.
And now comes the fun part of this where you're trying to fight him this way because he's such a coward. He just backs off constantly. And going kamikaze style, gets 2 hits, but the third one gets blocked and unfortunately gets knifed and goes down.
Shield. Cap.
And there's the shield we've been asking for, and still has plenty of magic left for a life. And I believe Martin has passed up on magic 4, which I believe is the correct leveling, and ready to go now for Karok to get to attack 8. Exiting I think the last Minecraft room? I believe that was the last one. And if it is Dan, well then you should empty whatever you got on the go, and that'll be that.
8-4. Correct.
And
So
Rebo
8-3-4.
finally gets retired. Zoeni must be very happy to see the back end of that annoying boss. And Martin just can't get a red jar in these rooms. That's the second time been denied. And so now Martin's either going to have to take a death or find a red jar. Is there another red jar on the way?
He's got a couple of red iron knuckles and a couple of Stalfos, so he has 4 big enemies. You know where his big drop counter is at, but there are 2 blue Stalfos and 2 red iron knuckles to kill on the way. That could possibly drop red jar.
Otherwise,
More than likely, he's gonna get a 2 because this game just knows. It knows.
All games know when you're running against a timer, I think. I think that's the rule. And then every now and then it's like, okay, you've suffered enough. Here's everything you wanted. No! Gonna have to head back to the previous room. Martin is now hoping for a red jar off the last big enemy, the blue Stalfos, who is up on the blocks above. And no drop. So, I guess Martin's going to have to take a death. Zoeni is now heading through the connector to get up to the north part of the... Wow. That was close. Very close, Zoeni. So Martin's going to go stand there and say hey to the wizard, and hopefully things will be better the next time around. So I believe this leaves Martin with 2 lives. Yes, 2 lives. So I wonder if he'll be picking up another extra life along the way here. And now sitting in the corner, dealing out some sweet, sweet reflective death. As Zoeni makes his way into the maze to go rescue the poor, poor child. And I just dropped my wedding band. Don't tell my wife. We have to find that. There we go. Okay, good. There's a story behind that, but it's not really appropriate for now. Chad is wondering if Zoeni has run the game before. I'm assuming Zoeni has. I mean, there are some definite signs of having run it before, but maybe the leveling isn't quite ingrained yet. That's what I'm assuming it is, Chad. Martin, did Martin get that extra life from near the bridge earlier? I'm trying to recall. I don't believe so. But I guess he feels pretty good about it and just left it there.
He got the life, Bri. What are you talking about?
All right. Karok is not a wizard. He is a magician. Do I dare ask the difference? Of course, I am talking. This is Dark Magician who said this, so maybe Dark Magician has, in the know, or maybe they both go to the reunion every 10 years. I don't know. And Martin is not going for Eco Key. He's just going to cast Fairy and float through the hallway.
Would.
And I'm sure chat's going to really... What am I seeing over Zoeni's screen right now? It's not on the multi-Twitch, but I'm seeing it on the restream. There is something blocking the view. There we go. JLo's got it handled, and we're good to go. And Martin is now into Palace 5, getting ready to cast Jump and pick up that key in a couple rooms. We'll see how the blocks treat him along the way. And Zoeni has arrived in Darunia and is now going to get Upward Stab using I believe the way the game was designed for you to get to the chimney going along the rooftops. Martin's getting in a real unfortunate bout of luck there in the block room. They fell in a certain pattern, blocked him off, and that so happened to line up for the MOA to say, oh, you like fire on your head. Well, here you go. Werewolf incoming. I don't know about that. Looks like Dark Magician in the chat just ran afoul of Nightbot. Gotta watch out for that Nightbot. Very trigger happy. And it looks like Zoeni's just about done in Darunia. Gonna pick up Reflect now. Martin picks up the key from the Red Iron Knuckle Guardian and is going to be making his way to that really far out of the way chunk of the palace where you have to get the plunger. I'm trying to think of the real name for it. The flute, I suppose it is. Recorder, whatever that thing might be. Oboe, some kind of wind instrument. Regardless, has to go pick that up. And I believe there's another key over there as well, heading through the illusion wall now. Honestly, I like Plunger better. I like to think that Link, is just planning for life after Ganon is re-killed. And there is Magic 4 for Martin. And will now be collecting to set up for the 9,000 experience points leaving Palace 5 with the Crystal Place. And no doubt will be thinking to himself, don't take the extra life, don't take the extra life, don't take the extra life. And, well, he's well on his way to getting those experience points. He kills 2 Magos, going through that room. So experience is not going to be an issue. Tries to jackhammer the Blue Iron Knuckle Guardian. The Blue Iron Knuckle Guardian was having nothing of that, but still takes it out, casts life, and is going to be, I believe... Yeah, it looks to be within range already. Just needs, I think, all of, Oh, no, he even has enough now, I believe, to get there. So he doesn't have to kill anything the rest of the way through. It's just too bad it doesn't work that way.
It's kind of unusual.
Very unusual, but he killed
at this point.
He killed, he killed 2 of the Megos in that room, and that's 400 experience in the span of about 10 seconds, just out of nowhere. So I mean, I suppose if you could take advantage of that somehow, maybe if you're feeling really aggressive, you could. There's another Mego kill. Could try to do something with it. I don't know how that would mess with the 9,000 points getting distributed though, going forward. I don't know if there would even be an advantage to it. Honestly, might make things more difficult in Palace 6.
Zoeni taking
an extra encounter.
Never seen that screen before on a speed run. He didn't go the long way around, so he took a different forced encounter than I'm used to seeing, and probably everyone's used to seeing.
Probably should have cast life there. Had enough to cast life before grabbing the magic container.
Yeah.
And, ho-hum, another Mago kill, but just says, I don't want it. You know what? I've killed enough of them. That one can live. He revived him by leaving the screen. That's how it works, guys. That's how doctors do it. They just have to leave the room fast enough when you're dying, and then you're back. That's probably not how that works. And that was a really unfortunate hit for Zoeni there. Getting picked off by a fireball from, I think that was the Tektite just sending a parting kiss across the screen. Or was that one of the little... I'm not even sure what they are. The little blue guys who shoot those fireballs.
In Martin's kill, could have soft locked the game for Martin.
Oh, when he was leaving the screen?
Yeah, had he...
I didn't even notice that. That could have... Oh man, that would have been interesting. It would have made this race a little closer. It wouldn't have been a huge deal because I'm assuming he... Well, but he... Do you... In the case of a soft lock, can you do an up and A? Are you allowed to do an up and A in the case of a soft lock in...
If you soft lock, you don't have the game saved, Bri.
So he would be completely back to... Oh my goodness.
He'd be back to 1-1-1 and Palace 1.
That would have been a disaster. I wonder if Martin's even aware of that. Did Martin notice? Does anyone have his audio open to hear that? I don't know what we're listening to on stream. I have it set to quiet, but that could have been bad. Is Zoeni going to use jump again? Maybe?
Flocking coming out of Palace 1 at 1-1 is crappy, but not, a dead run for you in a race.
Yeah.
But at this point,
this is
almost an hour in.
Yeah, that... You know what? I don't know, because Zoeni's routing and leveling has been a little erratic, so it's tough to say how it would have turned out. Martin looks to be trying for a fast kill on Guma. So far, no dice. But gets the kill fairly easily as Palace 5 is complete.
Is to take be at 845 coming out of Palace 2, and then the level that you cancel gets you up to 4100 experience. 887 coming out of Palace. But Martin's not going for that. He experienced enough, and he knows which are the inferior strats in this commentator's opinion. 877 to everything, and strats for Zoeni.
Zoeni's just taking a moment to reflect on I shouldn't be alive right now, and is going to kill the... It doesn't count as a kill either because he didn't get the experience. So, it's a game over too. Poor Zoeni is not having a great time here. I think Martin did the river dance. I was not watching, but appeared to get the skip. As Zoeni heads out from North Palace once again.
He took it very cautiously. He
Zoeni is
waited for
now thinking against the
experience to count
boulder.
up.
So I'm wondering if there might be a forfeit from Zoeni. Or maybe, yep, Zoeni has forfeited the race. As someone who forfeited, I think, 3 out of 4 or 2 out of 4, I don't see the problem with that. Martin is now going to set up to try to walk through here. This is one that Dark Magician pointed out is not a fun part to try to walk through in this game as well. Another badly designed chunk, but Martin nails it. No encounters, and goes fire strats through the cave. Fire strats, no matter what the situation, is always a favorite of the chat, typically. So let's see if the chat lights up. Zoeni tried. That's all good, Zoeni. And Zoeni, if you are on the Discord and would like to stop in to talk about your race today, feel free. You could join us to watch the end of Martin as he makes his way into New Kasuto. And I missed it, but Martin must have picked up a red jar. Will not need to do the refill at the Magic Lady. So now the long trek into and out of New Kasuto is a thing. Zoeni apparently had hardware issues, which was really messing with him. I was very curious what was going on there. As I said, Zoeni, if you are on the Discord and would like to join us to have a discussion, feel free. And if not, that's fine. Just enjoy the end of Martin's run here as he's working his way through endgame. Let's see, can he do anything fancy? He just wants to float in midair for several seconds as the world's largest door opens. Why is that door so tall? Can anyone explain that to me? Is it just they wanted to make it, what, really impressive that you had to sit there and watch this thing go like that? That is a very impressive image. Now up on Sony's stream. I don't know. Does that qualify as like too graphic? Or did Link just drink a lot of juice and had a bit of a throw up? Is that what is? Let's just go with that. It's a bit of a juice mishap. That's all that is.
Highly appropriate for any Zelda 2 speedrun for that matter.
Apparently, that is his offline image. I don't know if he drew it or he found it, but regardless, that is fantastic. Jackamus says the door is just overcompensating for something. I can't imagine what that could possibly mean. Oh, his controller won't give any inputs at all. I was wondering if it was giving him trouble during the race itself, because there were several times he looked to be fighting with the controller in the way like some movements and things were going for him. And maybe it just decided to give up the ghost on him now of all times. And Martin is now making his way through the cave of Tektites to get out and make the run down to the shore heart. That was just a wondrous spawn right there for Martin. There's his magic
The
if he wants
attempted
it.
slink there. You take a couple game overs, yeah, that's.
I gotta feel that he was like, it wasn't that it died, like it died on him by the end. I think it was kind of fun to, yeah. You had some real interesting stuff going on here in there, Zoeni. I'm not surprised. Dead is, you said kind of fun to dead with. You know what? I understand that's supposed to be deal with, as you've corrected, but dead with might be the correct way to put it. If your controller is fighting you, this game's already going to do enough to you. You don't need a controller giving you trouble. And Martin is now in Palace 6 and walks right into I want to say Wizrobe, but I know that's not the right name in Zelda 2. They have some kind of other name, if I recall. color commentary man.
Oh, he doesn't. He jackhammers him and casts jump.
Looked for the refill, but not there. Yeah, that's a great example, J-Lo. J-Lo says that the Rebo fights seem to be a good example of where his controller, like, you could tell something wasn't quite working for him. That definitely was not what he wanted. Martin's going to take it easy here and just let the skull bounce by, but the skull is coming with him. And it does pick him off, takes a bit of magic. Makes the wide jump, and will set himself up now to jump across the... what's the parlance? The Canadian hole? Is that what this one's called? And Martin really goes to the edge of it. And gets the red jar out of the iron knuckle, setting up to go into the first Rebo fight in Palace 6. So what spot on the floor should you stand here? Is it about it's like on the edge of a brick, right? If you want to go for the far side of the screen?
2.5 tiles from the right.
2.5 tiles from the right.
Duck stab plus down thrust. Him dismount, and hopefully when I dismount, I come down and stab him in the face again. And that's the quick kill.
Okay.
It was a little far to the left from what I do, but it seems to work for him. So
yeah, for sure, that was a very, very fast kill. His mount didn't even get off the screen. Oh, just makes it across the wide gap there, and is now heading back to the left to go into the physically impossible pits where you can just loop forever. And look at this stack of wizards just looking to give him trouble there. They were not going to let him get through clean. It looks like another jackhammer for sure. Is he going to try for the jar? Nope. He's just going to fall and go. He has to cast Fairy twice, so he should have enough. And now gets picked off by the blue iron knuckle, but should be fine. Heading into this room with the flying horse heads. Does a little bit of a swag jump there, bouncing off one over the pit. I guess if that's the way you're used to doing it, that would be safe enough, but I don't know if that's what you want to do. Wizard stack. I put on my robe and wizard stack. No, I don't think that's where we need to take this stream. So moving through here, kills the red iron knuckle, heads on out the door. He's going to have to ferry through this room with the magic stealing bubbles and the droppers. And there's something I did not know. I didn't know you could pass through the dropping sprites at the top of the screen. I thought they would have been solid. Well, that's good to know for the future. If I ever play this game again, which I won't. Right, Dan?
I tried to make you play this.
Chapter says, doing some role playing? I guess I was. You know, in another life, Enchantress, I was known as the Blood Ninja, so, you know. No, I wish I could take credit for that comedic genius, but sadly I'm not. Whoa, Jack, come on. Behave in the chat now. Second Rebo fight is done and over with. And Martin's heading down the hole, going to cast Fairy and head over to face Barba. So I'm not familiar with Martin's
Cast jump here.
So Martin, I was about to ask you.
Be on point on this Barba fight.
I was going to ask if you knew the plan. Is he going to go for the jackhammer?
That's set up.
No, going for the unicycle though. Gets it. We must be at the
Excellent
circus.
kill.
Must be. It was. Must be at the circus because he just rode a unicycle. And that's the end of Palace 6. And Martin will now be ready for the home stretch. And the chat is all being disgusting.
Skip, pick up the red jar. and then get a free fairy cast for the that he finds, and then lots of spell through the Valley of Death. Hopefully he gets all the force tile skips so that he doesn't have to go through one like our friend Cantaloupe did in a certain race that there was a big upset.
You know, people, you might
Not
think
to
you
not
might
to
think
toot
you
my
might
own
think to
horn.
yourself. I was going to say, you think Dan's stealth bragging, but then he just came out and said it. So it's fine now. It's fine. Now he's just throwing it out there. He's all like, "That's right, I took out Cantaloupe. It's fine."
But that will be the strategy that Ness Martin employs. I asked Fairy the next 2 bridge encounters. Valley of Death encounters won me that race.
Yeah, I heard that was the great equalizer that got you your victory.
Well, I was about 40 seconds behind, and then by
The
20 seconds.
I don't want to call anyone out, but you do have someone throwing some serious shade your way in chat right now.
Uh-oh, who is it?
It's not Cantaloupe. I don't believe he's here. But you're getting told.
Eh.
Dan's like, I'm fine with it. A W is a W, no matter how you get it, I suppose.
I sub 80'd that run.
Nothing wrong with that. Did you PB in the process?
No. I should have.
So Martin is now set up with spell
40
ready.
seconds. That was a successful skip right there.
It did look to be sure to get it. So now he's just going to try to evade the encounter here. Unfortunately, cannot. Drops that eyeball into the soup. I always like doing that myself. I feel like it's a bit of petty revenge against enemies that are really quite aggravating whenever you encounter them in the game, whether they're stealing experience or not, or stealing experience or dropping fire. Those MOAs, you can't feel a lot of pity for those guys. Plus, they tend to be fairly aggressive, the experience stealing ones.
Pointless.
So how is Max the Scorpion going to behave? Oh, Max the Scorpion is roadblocking hard. And a little color commentary from my cat. I don't know if you guys can hear that. She's looking for something. Maybe found a mouse. I don't know. But she's meowing. But Martin is moving on here. Going to head into the last cave, and then it's on to the greatest of palaces. It's great. It's huge. It's plated in gold, pretty much. Scorpion Max, always. Beautiful. It's good to know that Scorpion Max was in the chat room to make him or herself known. And the barrier is down. The Great Palace trek begins. So what is a good time from entering to finishing off Dark Link in the Great Palace? About 6 minutes? If you happen to know your own splits and have a good...
We'll see if he does elevator strats.
No, only show-off jerks do elevator strats in a race.
Well,
Nope, no elevator strats.
oh, that's a damn shame. Oh, he knows about them. I know he's not a show off, which is a damn shame because entertainment is at in these tournaments.
I do want to point out that I believe it was the race against you. I did soft lock the game, but I believe they still gave me a time of victory anyway, which was nice of them. I did the jump and fairy lock against Darklink. Which honestly, considering my condition on that race, I thought that was a pretty good showing. All things considered. That I was able to pull that off, I thought that was pretty good.
influence on your brain during that race.
Sorry, repeat that, Dad. I didn't quite catch that. Your audio. No, your audio cut out for a second.
Obviously, it didn't happen. I'm getting at, so fine for that entire race. On these long treks down the elevator, Martin could walk through the left-hand wall and find a red jar in a statue, but he chooses not to. I mean, why would you do it? You got a red jar coming up right now.
But guys, I really got the feeling. Oh God, is he on his last life? No, he's got one more, right?
It doesn't matter too much at this point, but
yeah, true. It doesn't matter, but still, you don't want to have to start all over here. I get the feeling it's being pointed out in chat by a certain East Coast of Canada fellow of mine that my interview was legendary after that race. And I get the feeling that's going to be my defining legacy of the Zelda 2 community. I know you like the interview, Dan. You told me so.
Yeah, he joined the call after that.
Were you actually on the call for that too?
Oh yeah. After you finished into the interview, I'm getting in on this.
But
you honestly were in rare form. And Ness Open Golf Brysol at that point.
Oh, it wasn't an interview. It was a drunken wrestling promo from what I recall of it, which granted isn't much. I'm surprised that I didn't tell you I was going to see you at WrestleMania or something. And Martin, now, can you get a red jar in the second set of with the you can go through the wall there? Is that a possibility? I'm trying to remember if it's available in both locations or not in the Great Pal. It's been so long since I've done it.
The only one.
Half my interview was yelling no and shut up and dad.
Second one. The first and third ones you can get a red jar.
Okay, first and third ones.
He took. I'm sure he's going to try to go for both red jar hole that he has to fall into. I don't remember if he has a life left right now for death abuse. There's not a red jar right here, Martin. What are you doing?
Yeah,
there's only a big bot.
I was going to say, I believe it's only
break up the big bot. There you go. And he death abuses. Hope he has lives left. Okay,
yeah, he's
good.
on his last one now. Don't worry, he'll cast Thunder too early, like a foolish person does with no lives left.
We can only hope.
No, God no. It's the difference between finishing the game and never running the game again.
Cast shield.
Reflect, and he's not going to be using jump. No jump strats.
Yeah, jump strats are just an invitation for death.
Sorry. He did cast jump, and I find jump works much better. He almost gets a double dip on the Thunderbird, but takes a hit. But that's fine as he moves on now to take on the most difficult boss this side of Karok, Dark Link. Unless he's going to fight him correctly or the right way or however some people put it. I don't think he's going to take that risk, though. I think he's going to sit in the corner and just slash him in the face a bunch.
Would be very difficult. I mean, he does have 12 hits to take, but that's not an easy thing to do to try to fight him legit with the jump slash. Left corner strats all the way. It's a shame he cast shield instead of fire because that would have been so much cooler.
I believe I did fire in my one
way.
Like my one sober successful race I completed. Actually, my PB.
I'm going to just say shame on shame. And
Martin finishes with about a a minute 25, an hour 25. And in the room
Hello.
now, joining us is NES Martin, the victor of the race.
Yes.
How did your race go, Martin? It looked a little rough, but you got it done.
Yeah, I had my hands were shaky throughout the entire race, so I took a couple of stupid deaths that I normally don't take. I think I had like 3 deaths up to Palace 4 or something like that.
Yeah, you had a death in Palace 3, and we were wondering what you were going to do with the tanking deaths into the lava pits in Palace 4. But then I think you took a death accidentally in Palace 4 around the boots, I believe.
And
So
then
then you really had some problems.
And then I also lost track of my lives because I thought I couldn't afford to actually suicide on Karok. So yeah, when I did that and realized I still had 2 lives, I was very happy again.
Yeah, we were then wondering, would you grab another life for safety or not? And Dan said, I don't think so. He'll get that done, no problem. And you did.
Yeah, I mean it looked a little bit worrying in Palace 6 because I was taking a lot of unnecessary damage.
There was a few rough parts for you. Now, do you know what happened with your opponent?
Yes, apparently his controller didn't accept any inputs. Controller is broken, can't make any decent inputs, is his last words.
Yeah, if you do decide to watch this race back at some point, you go watch his fights versus Rebo in Palace 3. Because there's a couple times in that fight you could just tell that things were not working for him correctly. There was other examples along the way, but that was definitely the easiest to spot.
Yeah.
And then I think he made it to Palace 4, and then he died again, and then that was when he called it.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought that my racing nerves would ease a bit when I saw that he forfeited, but yeah, they stayed on through the entire race, actually. I'm still a bit shaky.
Well, I mean, there's always a bit of adrenaline for any competition, and I think overall you did all right, and you finished up well, so ultimately you mastered it. It did not master you.
Yeah, I'm happy I just managed to get through without any game overs. It was at least a proper 1cc. That's always nice.
So was this your third match, Martin?
Yeah, I still have Link Sevens to face, and I think
right.
he's off to vacation this week, so I'm not sure he'll be able to stream during this week. So we'll see when we'll get it off.
So then you now sit at a record of 1-2,
Yep.
and you are hoping, I guess, Scorpion Max is going to take a loss in his next match. Has he faced off with Rov yet, who seems to be perfect?
Yeah.
It looks and Rov did beat him. So.
Rob won by 12 seconds or something, I think.
Let me see. I got it right here. The winner of that match was Rov Hall 88 by 22 seconds. Is that the closest match of the tournament, or was yours closer, Dan? For your one against Cantaloupe. That's Dan left already. That was a 14-second victory.
Was only 5 or 6 seconds. So that one was the closest one, actually.
Wow, there was a 5 or 6 second match. Impressive. So, Martin, you plan to do any more practicing then? If your opponent isn't going to be around this week, are you going to try any new tricks? Are you going to looking to maybe get an eco key into the mix? Any thoughts on that?
No, there's been the Rando tourney and this tourney, so I'm actually pretty. My mind is not in Zelda 2 right now. I am gonna do my next tournament match, and then I'm probably gonna take a break, other from maybe a couple of random matches every now and then.
Okay.
Random races.
It never hurts to take a break. I mean, what you aren't dead yet. Like as I said, you just gotta hope Scorpion can. Scorpion takes a loss and you get a win, and the points work out for you. So good luck. Good luck in your last match. Dan, you have any questions? I unfortunately have to go. I've got some errands to run. But thank you for the race, guys. And that was fun to call it. Maybe they'll let me call another one. I think I did a moderately good enough job. Anyway, boys, you have a good one.
Yeah,
Martin,
thanks.
Good luck.
Thanks for doing the commentary, and thanks to Yalo for restreaming.
Absolutely. JLo did a great job, kept all those screens moving along, and fixed any technical issues that popped up. So that was great. Talk to you boys later.
Yeah, see ya. I'm actually going to head to bed myself. So take care, guys, and thanks again.